Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're back in the team room with us, all three of us. This is what Aaron likes to call an evergreen episode. It's that P&W life,
I've never used that in my life. I don't know what you're talking about.
Liar, you have. because I've been doing all the editing. So I hear these things and I'm like, evergreen episode. Okay. All right.
It's disturbing how much Jared knows about us now because he does all the editing. Like you just say stuff and let it go. And he's just like,
I get to see episodes over and over again.
Oh, man. Thanks.
So terrible. I have got, even though it's still uncomfortable to watch and listen to myself because I'm an idiot, I've kind of gotten lights.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the worst part for y'all? Is having to listen to these things like over again? Like having to hear yourself and hear how stupid you are. Like, not you are. You guys don't sound stupid, but me specifically, I sound stupid.
Yeah. I don't like it. And what's even funnier is when people that I know, they're like, hey man, that was a good episode, which I appreciate. I appreciate the fact that they're listening and like they find that. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, don't you get enough of me? Like, you've got to get tired of me.
Right? Get tired of me talking. Yeah. Shout out to some of the cats in the YouTube comments. John Cammett, what's up? You're my favorite guy because he always hops on. My favorite one is he's my favorite commenter for real because he'll hop on when it's just an episode of YouTube and he goes, wow, guys, that was a really good episode when one guy isn't there talking over the host or saying dumb shit and just generally being a piece of shit. And I'm like, man, he's right. He's right. No, this is a really good episode. And that's what I hate is that usually it is really good. And then I have to think about that.
No, we're sad when you're not around.
2 in the entire world population.
Oh, man. Well, since we're all three of us are kind of in a spicy mood, I guess, maybe not spicy, but just in a jovial mood, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to talk about what we would consider, and probably as a community, what we consider kind of a quote unquote shitty operator. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm here for it.
I feel uncomfortable talking about this.
Some of us might
You're
feel
not an operator, Trent. You've never done anything. You haven't even been doing a selection. You have no idea what it means to do the job. I don't even know why you're here on this one.
I'm here to judge y'all and tell you how you could be better.
Nice. Good.
I'll
Everybody is. Yeah, I'm in.
I'm the one-man tiger team here to make things better.
The one-man tiger team.
Nobody knows what that is right now.
Nobody cares.
You're going to find out.
It's not a thing that's ever solved any problems ever since the history of the Air Force.
I've been part of 5 of them.
I've been part of 5 of them. We all talked about command relationships and having unity of command and having some sort of like coherent vision for AFSOC. What?
Oh boy. Anyway, so I have a list that I kind of was like spitballing going, okay, here's what I have seen and experienced. But so I'll start it off and then we can kind of go from there.
If you don't start with people that don't mark their gear, I'm going to be super upset.
That's actually where I was going with it. But
it's very on brand. Very on brand.
I got to stay on brand. So yeah, it's definitely marking you gear, especially if you're a cone and a quitter. So no, but dang, man. I wasn't going to start with that, but I should have. That sucks. Anyway, moving on. Not admitting that you don't know something or asking questions. If kind of, you're being instructed or you are on team and we're about to do an event and just something as benign as helo casting or fast roping or something like that, and you're brand new on team, or maybe you're not new on team, but you haven't been a rope master or a helocast master or something like that, and people just like, we kind of assume that you've had the experiences or been put in charge of doing something in oftentimes, and people will just kind of fake it till they make it kind of thing and not go, hey, actually, I appreciate the fact that you think that I know this or I should know this, but I have never done this before, or I don't quite understand what you mean. I mean, even now I do it with acronyms, like something as simple as acronyms. Somebody will just start just rattling off and having a conversation with me. This happened yesterday. I got asked about something about coding for AFSCs and a 9 alpha, and I had to go to somebody else and go like, I don't know what that is. And I know I should, but I don't know what that is. What are we talking about here? And then what?
It's
Snooki.
A holding pen for people that don't do anything.
Is that, see, like Trent knows that. I had to go ask Snooki. I asked Snooki. I was like, hey, dude, I don't know what this is, man. Right. What is this? And he's like, yeah, you probably should know what that is.
It's with all of those things too. It's funny too. I was going to bring up the acronym thing exactly, like the same thing. Like you'll be sitting in a brief, and there will be some acronyms thrown out, and I will turn around and be like, "Did you know what that meant?" And everybody's like, "No clue." But nobody raised their hand and asked. It's the pretending. It's the oh yeah, dude. No, I totally got. You're going through a brief, whether it's a training event or it's an acronym or it's a discussion that you may not be fully read in on. You start, people are just like, oh yeah, you sure? But like, did you understand any of that? And people go, no. We're like, well, why didn't you ask? Why did you pretend as if you were just totally tracking and everything was cool when instead you didn't? And it's, part ego and a lot of other things, but very rarely, like half the time, shitty operators, they don't even bother, like you don't even see them writing it down in their little notebook to look up later, to walk out and go figure the answer out. They're just cool. They walk out and they go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I didn't know what that guy was talking about. And then they just go on with their life. They just go back to the team room and they're like, well, fucking useless brief. Well, if you understood what the dude was talking about, then maybe it wouldn't have been useless.
I mean, there's differences, right? Like there's like, like fast roping or whatever. If you're doing something that's actually dangerous, like right now, and you're like, hey, we're about to roll out and you don't know what's going on, like you should probably speak up. But like, sometimes like reps from like radio companies show up and they sit there for 4 hours and just dump massive amounts of information. And it's just like, I'll just read the handbook later. So like sometimes guys are just like, I don't understand what this dude is saying, and I don't think he actually knows what he's talking about because he's the rep and didn't actually build the radio. Because we're all just gonna like, figure it out later anyway. We're all just gonna sit around in our cage and be like, what were we talking about? But like, because some things require, hands-on, at least for me, right? Like you can't tell me how to work a radio and I can work a radio. Mm-hmm. But like, if we're like, hey, we're going to go do this, this fast rope or a rappel out of a helicopter, and someone hasn't done it in 6 years and they don't know what they're doing, like that's the time to speak up and be like, hey, like, guys, I'm not so sure about how I do these things and I'm going to get somebody killed. It's like, I think, yeah, like you're going to feel stupid, but like feeling stupid is better than, someone else being dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry. I hate radios.
You really do. Yeah, I have a controller for that. I zoned out the entire time that you were talking because I was like, listen, can I get a TAC-P, dude? Can I get do we still have Romads? Where are those guys at?
Let's make Romads great again.
Yeah, now we're talking about it. Make Romad. They'll probably survive the career field cuts where TAC-P and combat control won't.
See, this is exactly why this episode or this topic is why I wanted to cover it today.
It just puts you in such an angry place.
Yeah.
See, Jared, if someone asks about 9 alphas again, 9 alphas are basically Romads of the Air Force, where they're just like, there.
Nice.
All right, cool. I'll take it.
Okay. All right. Well, my first indication, so while that might be your first indication, my number one thing that I look and I immediately, like, it might be an incorrect assumption. It might be a judgment. If you were fat, if you were out of shape, I don't care if you're the world's nicest dude and the world's most proficient operator. Immediately, I'm like, no, shitty operator. You're terrible. I have zero sympathy for it because it like, we've talked about it before on other fitness pages and seeing people that are in really good shape. That just speaks to discipline. It speaks to day in, day out. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You're prioritizing a couple hours of your day to make sure that you're in shape. And part of it is looking the part. There is a part of it where if somebody looks at you, they should think, yeah, that dude looks like a special operator. I have a good friend, a combat controller. His name is Josh. Josh is a beast. You look at Josh and he tells you, he's like, yeah, I'm a combat controller. And you're like, that checks. You look like a monster. And when you put kit on, you're even more intimidating. Like that's sort of part of it is looking that part, looking professional. But you see these dudes that are, typically you see it around the E7, like the E6, E7 sort of time frame where dudes just get into that office. Like I thought you were raising your hand, Trent. I was going to laugh. Exactly. But you see that E6, E7, and they just don't give a shit. They don't go to. they don't go to the gym, and when they do, they're doing like yoga, or they're only there, to go get worked on for some, non-existent injury that they have. And I don't know. For me, it's just annoying. It's one of those things where I'm just like, come on, man.
There is one caveat to that.
Here we go.
There are some people. Here we go.
Why are we being nice? Like, I thought we were talking just about what a shitty operator is.
I'm just saying that there have been dudes.
You're going to put salve on the feelings of shitty operators.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm going to contrast it, right? So you do 100%. You do have the dudes that are in there that either are scamming, skating, whatever you want to call it. There are some legitimately injured dudes, but then you also have people that, like Chuck, and I'll just use the name Chuck, who get shot in the quad. Yeah, shot in the quad, and it goes through, I think, shoulder or something like that too. And 3 weeks after he gets back, he is in the gym crushing it, and the POTF team is trying to tell him, like, dude, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, please just
you're still
recover.
bleeding.
Yeah, still recover and everything like that, like you're supposed to. And he's just like, I don't think so. I'm in here. Yep. Just it's a different mentality.
And Chuck is not a shitty operator, but the other people we were talking about were, those people are shitty operators. And there are people that I've worked with, Toa specifically, I graduated with him. He's a awesome dude, but he never looked like he was in shape. He was just a Samoan guy, and he honestly, like, he was never going to have a six-pack. He was never going to be like a dude that looked great, but that dude was a monster. Like, he still is. He's still in amazing shape. He still crushes it. Like, you still can't keep up with him, even now that he is, older and further in his career. But that's what you're supposed to be. I'm not saying everybody has to have a six-pack, but everybody should be in the gym. You should be able to look around and be like, oh, I see you in the gym roughly the same time every single day.
Yeah, some guys have the combat chassis, and that's okay. Like, we're not saying you got to look like an Instagram fake fitness influencer nonsense thing, but
that's good.
Or the model kid from San Antonio, where he went to a modeling shoot while his team got smoked. Are we allowed to talk about that now, or no? Has it been enough time?
I mean, I appreciate the cojones on that kid to just go.
The fact that he posted it, like, I don't know, pick that kid up immediately. Get him on a team. Get him making decisions. You know what I mean? What could it hurt? In today's environment? Come on. I think that guy's a superstar.
Recruiting challenge is over.
Follow up on that did he make it? Did he quit? Did he? Okay. I gotta imagine he
was summarily removed from his team.
I would have to believe that he got the ever living shit smoking out at him.
I would have to believe it. I'd have to. And then, like, he's not doing great on peer-to-peer reviews. Like, those peer reviews for him have to be bottom third minimum. I would have to think.
Bottom third.
I would have to think he's not doing so hot in the old team room.
I'm guessing the pipeline was probably just too easy for him. So he just wanted to make it a little more challenging for himself and also make a little side money.
I do respect that. Yeah.
Get an extra workout in. Whatever.
Yeah.
Extra workout for your team too.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously he feels the same way we do. And he felt that his team was getting fat and out of shape and just being pieces of shit in general. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to lead you and help you help yourself. And I'm going to go ahead and do this photo shoot, show off the guns.
Right.
And you guys will get an extra workout.
Right.
But this also applies to, like, just the general force of the Air Force, right? Like, it's not that hard to not be fat. Like, just shut the hot dog hole. Stop shoving stuff into it. You know?
Tostitos hole?
Yeah.
Tostitos hole.
You don't have to be in great shape to look good in your uniform. You really don't.
Right.
Like, you could just eat less.
Yeah. Yeah, the uniform is pretty, it's not flattering.
No.
It's it hides things very well. So when you see somebody that looks fat in your uniform, you're like, wow, you're actually fat. Like, you're fat. You're not in shape at all. Because if I could tell that you're fat in your uniform, when I see somebody in a flight suit where the flight suit is having a problem containing all of the adipose tissue, I'm just like, that's fantastic.
Is that a medical term, Aaron?
It is. Yeah, it's fat. Adipose
all the
tissue.
visceral fat.
All the visceral fat. It's not the good brown fat like goes around your organs and stuff that's, stimulated by cold plunges. It's the bad stuff.
Yep.
And now we learned. What are some other problems Peaches, that you would say that shitty operators have? So when you see a shitty operator, what's another thing that they do?
Oh, well, I was going to pass it over to Trent, but
What did I do?
I wanted you to self-identify.
Wow. Shitty operators, you know what they do? They shirk responsibility, Trent.
Yeah.
You were just like, what did I do?
That's a great segue.
Oh,
it's a great Siegmiller into.
Yeah, he didn't mean it. It's a segue.
They're easy to identify when like you call them to your office and they're like, "Am I in trouble?" Which is what I say 100% of the time because obviously they're not doing what they should be.
In trouble. We've all done it. We've probably actually done it. We've all seen it for sure, but we've probably all done it at one point in time. Is walking past trash, whether it's on the ground, and not picking it up, or stacking onto the mountain of trash that you're just like, you know what? Somebody else will get that. Not me.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is what cones are for. This is not my job. This is cones and new guys on team should be taking out the trash, right? That's not my responsibility.
Right. It couldn't
everybody's
possibly be.
responsibility.
It's everybody's responsibility. It's like putting your card away. Our favorite thing to gripe about. So because it's the same sort of thing. And again, it's not the action, right? You being fat or you having higher body fat percentage isn't the issue. It's that you don't have the discipline to fix that problem. So when you're walking past trash, when you're not putting your card away, that's not who we are. We don't walk past problems. You don't look at things that are wrong and then just go, well, that sucks. And then you go on with your life. Like that is the hallmark of a shitty operator. They're just like, I mean, I've no kidding seen folks and it infuriates me. They'll have their monster can and they will set it and they do this like Jenga thing where they set it on top because it's so overflowing that they can't actually even make it stay in the container unless they just like fit it in there exactly correctly. And I remember this pretty clearly. I look at him, I was like, hey dude, take the fucking trash. I literally walked by him, like face mushed him out of the way and was just like took the trash out myself.
I got it for you.
I got it, bud. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Which is a fun correction to do to people because it makes them feel bad. And I'm here for it.
So bad.
It's so awful. Like, here, let me fix the problem that you're trying to avoid right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Trent Dog?
Well, it just begs the question, right? Like, what are you here for? Like, are you here because like you just wanted the beret just for yourself to look cool and to tell everybody at AJ's that you're an operator, which is whatever? Or are you here to make everything better? Like, are you here to work? Are you here to? Do you take pride in like your community and your building and all the other stuff? Like, it does say something. Like, and in our community, like we have dog and pony shows all the time.
Mm-hmm. People
are going to be rolling through. If you just keep things the way that they should be, like you don't have to, your commander doesn't have to freak out and be like, everybody clean up and blah, blah, blah. And like, I get it. Like the team rooms get to be a certain way. Like they're not perfect, but don't just leave your crap all over the place, like, and also like from a mission readiness standpoint, like if you walk past someone's cage and it's a disaster, it's like, how are you going to grab the stuff you need if we need to go like quickly? You can't find anything, and it just says something about their priorities and what they're here for.
Speaking of the cages at the 2-2, those new cages. Whoa! Actually,
nice.
you're the whole new facility. I was just up there visiting, as you know, Aaron. Wow, y'all's new building is incredible.
Right? Yeah, purpose built. Actually has everything you need. Actually has like a lot of good stuff. Yeah, crazy.
It's nuts. And actually, Vice and I, the commandant, we were talking about the. I know we're shifting a little here, taking us off course, but the level of pride that I noticed from dudes that are in the unit, not just dudes, but everybody in the unit, in terms of, the 2-2 went from a really, really old, I think it was Cold War era hangar, with 4 or 5 different buildings spread across. And, everybody's kind of, we take pride in what you got, right? But man, seeing everybody in a new building, new facility, taking care of it, just kind of like really, really kind of proud of it. And then that mural that was, it looks like it's drawn, but it's kind of like a shaded sketch in Max's team room.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, it's really, really impressed. That place is awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. They did a great job on it. And that was an overnight success that took 10 years. Like they worked on that building. I mean, that was a Milcon project that almost didn't happen about 100 times. Like, you know, sometimes it felt like the Army was actually like stopping us from building the building. And then, you know, the fact that it actually got put up on timeline, the folks that built it was, you know, straight up amazing. Like, you know, we just scoffed. We were getting ready to deploy when they were starting to make the building. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to come back. And they still haven't broke ground. Man, they had the bones of that building up by the time we got back from that deployment, and stuff was getting, you know, through the winter and through the crappiness that is the PNW winter, you know, in fall time period. Like, those dudes crushed it, you know, individually, got everything set up, got everything ready to go. And building actually just flew up. So they're doing a gym renovation right now. They're putting HVAC in the gym because for the longest time we didn't have heat in that gym, but the gym's getting an overhaul too, and it's going to be dope, man. So kudos to them.
That's awesome. Yeah,
just in time for us to consolidate and turn the 2-2 off.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the team guys didn't build the building themselves and they actually have to ask for help to like keep things running?
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they weren't able to actually make it out of plywood that they stole from somebody, which is usually what we do. That's usually the move.
But I thought we just did everything ourselves and we don't have to rely on anybody else. And
no, we definitely need
if you don't have a beret, like, you are nobody to me.
Right. That's, you know, this is another good Seg Miller way. Like, this is a good one. The other thing that a shitty operator does is they treat CMS or support folks like crap, and we don't tolerate that.
No. I am CMS, so.
Yeah.
CMS for folks out there is Combat Mission Support, or the new name for it is SWMS, Special Warfare Mission Support.
Yes, indeed.
Which is a whole bunch of different Air Force Specialty Code, different jobs that are put together to, you know, intel, armory, vehicle maintenance, personnelist, admin, resource provider, so a finance person. What am I forgetting here? I'm sure. Docs.
Personnel, A4, A6. I mean, there's radio, there's, you know, IT, there's a million, not a million, what is it, like 27? 27 AFSCs?
Something like that,
fall into Special Warfare Mission Support.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird relationship, right, between us and the SWMS folks sometimes, and it's difficult for anybody to step outside of, you know, their own workspace and appreciate what everybody else does, you know, like, because sometimes life on team is chaos, but also understanding that we're not the easiest people to work with or for or around all the time, and it's easy for you to get stuck in like your bubble of like your team, you know, or your smaller version of the team that you're rolling out on deployment with, and not understanding that 15 other dudes have kicked in the door to supply or whatever that day, asking for the same stuff, thinking that they're the most important people in the world just because they're trying to take care of their guys. And like, sometimes it just gets frustrating, but the more you understand and the better you treat people and you know, just work through the process and have a little patience, the better the entire organization works. And so that there's no reason to get mad or to let your temper flare up. You know, treat the people like people and try to understand where they're coming from. And, you know, they have more than just you to worry about and your team. They have a bunch of people to worry about. Plus, you know, their chain of command structure that they have to deal with and all these other things. You know, we don't even know their functional structure that they deal with. You know, like we talk about our functionals and all these other things that we have to deal with. We have no idea what it's like to be, you know, CE and deal with their functional chain of command and whether or not they're getting orders to where they should be getting orders to or anything. So a little bit of patience goes a long way.
Yeah, we tend to think that everybody is organized, trained, and equipped really exactly how we are. And until you step out of it and you see, or you visit other units or something like that, then you really see like, oh wow, okay, well it's not better or worse. It's just different. And you know, whether it's efficient or effective or not, I mean, that could be argued, because that kind of goes back into that this is the way we've always done it kind of thing. But there are definitely differences across the board that you don't really appreciate when you're on team.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that. Like, it's not like all of the AFSCs. It's not like all, you know, SWMS folks, the SWMS folks. They don't all come from our AFSC. Like, they're not managed like ours. Like, they're essentially on loan. They're working for our command, but they're coming over to AFSOC or, you know, to the rescue units to work for that command. So they have a whole other essentially chain of command. Like, when we have a problem, we call, you know, people that live and work and breathe in our chain of command, and it's not the same for them as we've kind of alluded to. So, you know, let's say you're a parachute packing American or a rigger, if you're an AFE troop, you have an AFE functional that works outside of your. They don't even work in the same command as you. Most likely, they work in a completely different command at some other place, and they have a whole regular Air Force of folks that work at a number of different units. And you are no kidding. I mean, how many riggers work in AFSOC? It ain't that many, right?
No, well, no, there's not that many because they do have AFE. So you have the AFE career field, the air crew flight equipment, but they cover, like, it's a wide swath. Like, there's a whole bunch of different shred outs. You've got the ejection seat people, you got the survival kind of people, you got you got the dudes Sticky and those dudes that are packing our chutes. So they cover a wide swath of different stuff.
Right. And if you look at like security forces is the biggest career field in the Air Force, right? They have tens of thousands of folks. Well, there's like, I don't know, maybe 50 of them that work at an STS or a rescue unit. Like, you have like, there's only 4 or 5 armors, 4 or 5 security forces folks at the 2-2 through the 2 series unit. You look around, there's maybe 20, 25 folks that work throughout the 2 series. There's really not that many. So when you kind of put it in there, some career field functional manager that has to worry about 10,000 folks, and you have 1 or 2 of them that are like, oh, I really want to do this. They're like, shut up, nerd. go talk to your chief about that.
Yeah, not to be an asshole, but you're kind of a number at that point.
You're 100% a number. Yeah. And you're not a high number or a good number. I think you're probably like an 18 of some sort, like 1,018. I don't know. I think 18 is a bad number. That's it.
18 is the new 13, or wait?
It is. No, 13's fine with me. Me and 13 are cool. 18's terrible. And don't get me started on 33, Trent, because then we're going to start talking about Freemasons, and then this thing's going to go really off the rails.
Ah, I know why you like the number 18, because 18 Alpha Fitness. That's why you like it. Yep.
That's why.
I knew it. That's why you like it.
Kevin caused me so much pain during the BJJ kettlebell program that I went through. I was cursing him every day. I was like, 18 Alpha Fitness, and now I hate it. But it is good. It's a great program.
Yeah, very much so. So he's got merch on our site that you can purchase, but also mainly it's the plans. The plans that he has will get you prepped, whether you're going for, going to be a Green Beret, so you're going to the Q course, whether you're going to Ranger School or prepping to be all those, PJ, CCT, SR, Tech P. If you're just an old man like Trent,
easy.
Maybe easy. Yeah. Maybe you just need to, or maybe you are that fat operator and you're like, dude, whatever I'm doing ain't working out for me. So let me go ahead and hop on the old Edge train with 18 Alpha and get my mind right and get my body right. So check out those plans. What about that app that he's got? He does have an app, right?
Dude, the app is fantastic. So you sign up for the plan, you download the app, and then you basically put in your stuff every day. And if he sees you slacking, like if you do a good job, there's always that positive feedback where he's like, hey, way to crush the workout today. But there were days where I would put, it basically says rate how hard this workout was. And I, some days I would rate like, super hard. And then in the notes, there's a notes section where you can go in. And I was like, hey, I'm just feeling beat up today, whatever. He literally will text you on, on the app and go, hey, maybe tomorrow you just take a rest day, hit this day after you take a rest day tomorrow, as opposed to the program rest day on the app. So he provides real-time feedback. The app is awesome. It's super easy to use. It tracks all your workouts. It will tell you comparatively, like as you go through new, because you'll repeat some of the same movements, right? They'll tell you, hey, today you did more weight on these thrusters than you have ever, or here was your work output. And it's great. Like nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah. So you're not just a number with 18 Alpha?
You're not
like the
just
opposite
a
of
number.
security forces. You get that one-on-one attention, the love.
This is the saltiest episode.
18alphafitness.com, promo code, the number 1 ready. Get yourself a discount. That is 18alphafitness.com, 1 ready, and get yourself a discount. And then before you do that, you might want to hydrate with Hoist. Drinkhoist.com. Use the promo code one's ready. They've got ready to drinks. They've got packets. They've got these little pouches that are ready to drink as well. They're just not the hardened bottles. So great flavors: peach mango, dragon fruit, fruit punch, watermelon,
blue raspberry.
Yeah. All fire.
Dude,
absolute fire.
When I went to the academy, there were they have Hoist on deck up there. You can just walk over, and the blue raspberry.
Say the academy.
the United States Air Force Academy.
Guys, I've had it with you. It's where they create leaders, okay? It's a small technical college, mostly for boys, tucked into the Colorado Rockies. Lots of planes everywhere. I don't know why. Apparently, they really like planes. It's a Mountain West Conference school. They're pretty okay at football. I think they're 3-0. No, but no kidding, Deadhead Hoist. The funniest thing of this is I'm sitting at the table. We're eating with some cadets. We're sitting there. I'm next to my friend Justin, and we're eating. And this freshman, so it is reindeer game central up there. Like, you have to play reindeer games essentially the entire time, right? Like, there's a bunch of traditions that they do. So the freshman walks up to the table, and he looks and he's like, "Hello, cadet second class, whatever, cadet whatever wishes to talk to you about whatever, Hoist." And the cadet like kind of looks at me and like looks and he's like, "Go ahead." He's like, "Did you know Hoist has IV level hydration and somebody's favorite flavor is fruit punch?" And I just look at him and I was just like I got the joke immediately. I was like, nice. So he starts giving essentially a Hoist ad read to me at the table. So whoever that kid was, congratulations, you did it. You made me laugh.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was. And he started giving the ad read and I can't remember exactly what phrase he used right away, but it was something that I said. And as soon as I heard it, I recognized it. And I was like, "You little shit. You little scamp, you." I wanted to rustle his little hair, little 18-year-old hair.
That's awesome.
I
can't believe that happened. That's great.
But it was. Yeah, but man, the cadets up there, they love it. It's because Hoist works. One of only 3 approved beverages inside the DoD for rehydration. So go over to drinkhoist.com, use our code one's ready at checkout. And yes, my favorite flavor is the fruit punch in the packets. That stuff is fire.
So you're saying they don't have any excuses to not be hydrated and ready to go for
no excuses.
Whatever's coming their way?
Nope, they ready, baby. They should be ready to go.
How do you feel about excuses, Aaron?
I hate excuses. I would rather you just look at me and go, "I'm stupid," and then walk away, as opposed to giving me some long excuse. It's one of my isms. Hey, why did you do this? And it's this long explanation. I would rather at this point you look at me and just go, "Listen, I wasn't prepared for today," or, "Hey, sorry, I forgot that piece of equipment. I screwed this one up. I like that." There is a fine line though, because it almost feels dismissive. Like I've definitely asked somebody, "Hey, why didn't you do this correctly?" And they're just like, "Because I'm not good at stuff." And then they just kind of blow it off. And then they just go on and be like, "Well, no, I think you should explain yourself a little bit here. Like, why didn't you? Like, why are you not good at stuff?" So there's a fine line between making an excuse, like making it so it isn't your fault, and then just completely sloughing it off and just being like, I don't care about this. How do you feel, Trent? How do you feel about excuses?
I want to talk to Jared about it. I don't know. Like, excuses are fine. It's just one of those, like,
fine.
When you start with something, right, and someone wants to like make excuses and be like, "Hey, like, I'm just here to correct you," depending on like your situation and position, be like, "I'm not starting a conversation. Like, I don't care." Like, most of the time, we don't have time to get into the nitty gritty of why you are the way you are and how you showed up without your gear being labeled or whatever. Like, I don't care. I don't want to hear about how your parents found out that they were second cousins after they were already married and it was a huge mistake and that's why you're the way you are. Like, it's fine. Like, just fix it. Fix whatever needs to be fixed.
You mean have a little bit of accountability?
Oh, man. Yeah. Boy, I got some water in my throat and I started choking. Looks like one's not ready, huh? Am I right, guys?
Hey-o. There he is.
Am I right, huh?
That page started strong. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how it
really
goes.
Is. They've been saving up memes for a long time. I love looking at a page that just started like 2 days ago and they've got 65 memes on deck, just ready to go.
I know, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I hope those little scamps make it. Remember Juan's Ready? That was my favorite one.
Yeah.
Juan's Ready was good. They petered out pretty quickly. But if you're out there, Juan's Ready crew, I think you guys should start back up.
Yeah.
They flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
They did. They really did fly too close to the sun.
To your point, though, Trent, accountability, right? That the excuses, that all that kind of bullshit that we're talking about, but like accountability is something that is lacking recently, I would say. And there's a lot of people out there that are finally waking up to the fact that there has been a significant amount of lack of accountability, which I think is why you're seeing so many people online calling people out. Whether it's terminal CWO, whether it's
senior leadership, the DoD in general, like, I mean, political figures. Like, there's so many people that people are like, I can't believe, like, there's been failures. Like, we're not perfect. We failed a lot. Right. But at the end of that failure, there's supposed to be a reckoning. There's supposed to be accountability. When you recognize and understand wrongdoing, somebody is supposed to get fired for that. You're supposed to be removed from command for that. I can't remember which bomber wing it was, but the bomber wing commander was just removed, within 6 months. But they gave no sort of update as to why. The command was just like, so we lost faith in his ability to lead. Like, what does that mean? What happened here that you removed a commander of an entire wing, a wing organization, wing level organization? But accountability is important. People, I think you're right, are waking up to the lack of accountability or the perceived lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not an actual lack of accountability. Maybe stuff is happening behind the scenes. But if you never hear about it and you never understand what's going on, like, leadership is supposed to be transparent. They're supposed to go, hey, this is what happened. This is why we're doing these things. And sometimes it's almost preventative in nature. It's showing everybody in that organization, like, hey, if you mess up here, like, we're going to fire you. You're not going to work at that organization any longer. So I think that's lacking a little bit. I think that's an important part of our culture to have.
Yeah. And it's not you mess up once and you get fired. Obviously, there are varying degrees of that. Like, if it's bad enough, you will get fired. You have to. You broke a law, or you did fraud, waste, and abuse, or you did whatever it was. You were inappropriate with some junior enlisted or something like that. Like, there are certain things that it's like, that is for sure. That is a one-time offense. Boom, you're gone. But I don't. We're human. We expect people to mess up. Making decisions at some of the levels that they are and some of the levels that we are at, and even all the way, on junior enlisted, some of the situations we put them in, the responsibility that we put on them, you are going to make mistakes. It is impossible for you to not make mistakes. But you got to own it. Yeah. And you also got to, you got to acknowledge it, you got to own it, and you got to be ready and willing to accept any kind of accountability that you get held for. Conversely, though, if you are in that leadership role and you mess up just the same, or you do things that are mess up, then you need to be willing to hold yourself accountable. And those junior enlisted or those junior officers also need to look to you and go, what are you doing about this? You messed this up. Like, because if it were me, I'd be gone. Or I'd be reprimanded in some sort of way. So what are you doing? So all that to say, like, the making excuses thing got me spun up on that, because we have seen it recently, and I can appreciate, and I'll say it, I appreciate the people that are getting after it and trying to bring more accountability back to people that need it, because I think we've gotten away from being held accountable and taking that ownership of it. So that's me, though.
Well, where does that start? Where does the lack of accountability start? Like, like how do you fix it long term?
Well, I mean, you establish that culture, right? Like, you fix it long term by doing it at the lowest possible level and then holding people to account for it. Like, it's one of these things where people, are like, oh, well, how do we get after it? That's such a hard problem to fix. It's really not in my opinion. You just start doing it. You just start tomorrow. Like, this is one of those problems you could no kidding fix tomorrow. And it sucks to be like, I've been in a unit that is experiencing, this happens on the unit level all the time. It's the broken windows speech. It's the the speech that you get, you show up on Monday morning and, everybody's like, hey, you need to show up in a multi-cam uniform. I want everybody there on time. And, the first sergeant or the chief walks around. It's like, your hair's too long. Your uniform looks like crap. You're fat. You need to get your stuff together. Like, it can happen in the blink of an eye, where an entire culture of accountability can be established. It's not really like some cosmic thing. So, and then people are like, oh, well, that wouldn't work on a large, like a large scale. Yes, it would. Yes, it absolutely would. You just need one leader that's willing to do the work. It's, like the movie Batman. You just need one guy that's willing to be the villain enough for the entire city that will turn the city around. But it gets to be this weird thing where, just like you kind of alluded to, Trent, it's like people have this they want to have discussions about, oh, how do we fix the culture? Well, you go fix the culture. You go fix it right now. You walk out of that room, you stop having that conversation. You know what's wrong. You know what's missing. You know exactly what's going on in the force. The fix is not that hard.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
It's not hard, but it's painful at first.
Oh, it sucks.
And nobody likes being called out, but
no.
That's where that maturity and that level of professionalism comes in. Is you go, dude, I messed up. Here's whether it's, I straight up messed up, and it was malicious, or it wasn't malicious, but it was, golly, damn TBI.
You're doing great, buddy. I'm proud of you.
God, it really is gone, fleeting. But okay, save me. I'm out. I don't remember what I was still saying.
It's not malicious or intentional, but it was still a problem. Like, it was still a mistake. There we go.
It was you're just, hey, you messed up, and I just didn't know any better. But you've got to acknowledge it and hold yourself accountable. And it starts from the top. Like, you really want to start making some serious changes. You hold each other accountable. And that's also, Aaron, when we spoke to Denny at Security Halt, and again, going back to editing, this is why I remember it, but we were talking about holding each other accountable. And you said you weren't feeling well, or something was going on, right? And I was like, yeah, okay, cool story. Take a knee, drink water, get rear security, and it was kind of a dick thing, but at the same time, it's like, it's kind of what I needed, and that's holding you accountable. So imagine if we were, all three of us were trying to record podcasts, and then I kept ducking out, like last minute, just like, hey guys, not gonna make it. By the 7th or 8th time, you're like, all right, dude, what the F?
7th or 8th time, you're getting it on the 2nd time. You ghosted us 2 times. On that 2nd time, I'm like, Peaches, what's up, dude? Do you not want to do this anymore, my guy?
You weren't 10 minutes early today, and we were talking shit.
Yeah, you got a healthy dose of shit talking because you had to go to the bathroom before the podcast, let alone.
You got a pregame.
Let alone you ghosted us.
Well, people like to talk these days, right? Like, I think one of the problems is the generational stuff, right? Like, oh, airmen these days are not just, look, when I came through, like, we were all, no. Like, your generation that preceded you held you accountable. And do you think that the first time that person, was an NCO and they had to, reprimand an A1C or hold them accountable, and also realize that if they're not doing what they should be doing, like, it's hard to do that. Like, it's a difficult thing to do. It's not comfortable to square someone away, to tell them what they're doing wrong, to point out, but they recognize that is what is needed, not just for that individual, but for the organization. And so, like, there's a lot of people complaining about a lot of stuff, and they all want to, like, go to, like, these like huge, like, well, the society in general is broken. It's like, well, then fix your house. Like, that's where it starts. Fix your house and establish it there. Like, don't spend all of your day. Like, I love what some of these guys are doing, like on Instagram, right? Like the high level stuff, like that's important. But I'm saying, like, if you're a staff or a tech sergeant right now, you can fix it by just holding yourself accountable and also holding these people accountable, instead of just whining about this generational nonsense that's always been there and always will be there. Like, it's just an excuse for you to not do your job and hold the people below you accountable and hold yourself accountable. Yeah,
if you're the one that's sitting here going, oh, this generation, guess what? If you don't like our generation, we are the product of you. Right?
You made it.
So the folks that are retired or pissed off about this generation, guess what? You created us. Okay? And I tell you what, the next generation, if how dare us go, say this about this next generation, because guess what? They are the product of us.
Right.
So
nice. How do you really feel? One of the best comments that I ever heard on that, and I can't remember what chief it was, but it was at like an all call, and people were lamenting the EPR process. So before it was EPBs, it was EPRs, and way back in the day, you actually used to rate people 1 to 5. Like, old people will remember this, but the system got so perverted that everybody always got a 5, right? So it was like, if you got a 4, that was like a death knell for your career. Like you would never recover from a 4, so everybody got a 5. And it was just nonsense. It was like, why even have a rating if everybody gets the same rating anyway? So somebody brought that up. Some young, hard-charging E5 brought it up to a chief, and he goes, the chief was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Have you ever rated anybody as a 4? And the guy was like, no. And he was like, okay, well, then you're the problem. He was like, you mean to tell me that you supervise all 5s all the time and you've never rated anybody accurately? You're the problem. He's like, the problem isn't the system. The problem is all of you not doing it. The problem is all of you not using the system. He's like, he said, I hate to say it, but about 50% of the people in this room are 3s. About 30% are probably 4s. And then you have that top 20%, that top 10% that, no kidding, deserve to get a 5 rating. But y'all don't do that. You give everybody a 5. You'll talk crap about the people that you supervise and how bad they are, and then you rate them a 5 on the EPR. Like, the system isn't broken. The way you're using the system is broken. I thought that was, I mean, it was awesome. It never fixed itself. Like, we ended up changing the way that we do EPRs, and we got a little bit closer with the EPB system. But still, it was the first time I'd heard it. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good freaking point. Like, there was a lot of uncomfortable folks looking around like, oh, I guess the chief is right here.
No, he was right. The backside of that, though, is we also needed to fix the kind of how long that downgrade, if you will, would affect somebody, right? And so that was kind of the also the other side of that. Like, he was 100% right, but a downgrade shouldn't have affected somebody for 3 years later. Did you show improvement? Okay, cool. You know,
right.
Anyway, another way is how I don't put the Ones Ready team first. Like that.
You really don't, yeah.
That is not putting the team first is really shows a lack of character and somebody who is not somebody you want on team, or at least not a great operator.
It's just annoying. It's the most annoying because the guys that do that tend to do it all the time. Like they tend to blow off team duties all the time, and it is the most annoying thing because things can get done so quickly. Like when people are doing all these cliche things that we've said a million times, looking for work, going to find stuff to do to make stuff happen, not having to be told to go do something. That stuff makes the team room a pretty great place to live. If you imagine all the things that we said during this episode about how to be a shitty operator, if you're not going past trash, if you're picking stuff up, if you're fixing problems, you're turning lights out, you're doing the little things, keeping your cage clean, making sure that you're on time for training events, that makes everybody's life easier. And when you're not a team player and you don't put the team first, it really does make people's lives worse. I won't say who it is because he's an active duty PJ now. It's actually got a good story, but in the pipeline, we would be trying to get ready to go somewhere. And I'd be like, hey, I want to step out of here at 45. And he would come like screaming into the parking lot in his car at 43. And he would like get his ruck out of his trunk and he would walk into like the formation, like as we were getting ready to go. Because me, 10 seconds out, I'm calling people to attention. Like, we're getting ready to take this run to the schoolhouse. Like, I'm leaving at 45, whether you're there or not. And it would frustrate the shit out of me. So I finally I'll call him Mike. His name was not Mike. I was like, Mike, what the fuck, man? Show up on time so that I can get accountability so that we can leave. He's like, well, you said you wanted to leave at 45. If you want to leave at 40, say you want to leave at 40. I'm like, that's not the point, dude. I want you to, he's like, I was there when you said to be there. I was like, no, I said be there at 40 so we can step at 45. I was like, you need me to tell you, a grown man that wants to be a special operator, did you have to be there a little bit ahead of time? I don't need you there 15 minutes early. Like, we're not doing anything. But I don't know. Maybe 5 minutes early, maybe 10 minutes early to the start of something would be nice. And he by the way, he never listened. He was just like, whatever, dude. But it just causes stress. It causes drama that you don't need. The worst.
Well, and putting the team first looks like a lot of different things sometimes, right? And you can't put the team first and take care of your team if you're not taking care of yourself. So like, there's just like everything else, right? There's like a balance. Like if you're just like killing yourself and your stress level is at 11 and you're never home and like your life is falling apart, like sometimes it is time to take a knee to take care of your team. But there's a balance, because there's also that person that's like, well, always has a personal life excuse to not be there. And it's like, dude, like it sounds like your life is just like burning down 100% of the time, and that's why you can't be here for the team ever. Like no one makes it to 100% of everything, but like, bro, like 90%.
Yeah,
that's not shooting for the stars. You know, could you show up?
Can you give me a B effort? That's not even an A. Like an A is 91 to 100. Can you give me a B plus?
What about the dudes that are, the team or the squadron are cleaning up the building, doing a GI party, and my man's ducking out in the freaking bathroom.
Shammers, dog.
Just
man
shamming.
No, they're
shamming,
just the smart
scurving.
Ones.
Yes, like smart ones.
the smart ones.
I got an appointment. I gotta head to. I already had it booked like 3 weeks out.
A good sham every once in a while. A good like, hey, dental sergeant, I gotta go to the dentist today. And you get out but you can only do that like one time. Like if you do that consistently, like this is the 4th dental cleaning you've had this month. Like we're on to you, my guy. Like there's always a professional tension, right? A professional push and pull. Somebody will come to me and they'll be like, hey man, tomorrow at like 10 o'clock, I got to go do this thing. And then I won't be at work after that. Every once in a while, like you look at him and you're like, all right, you're not giving me a lot of information. I'm going to do you a favor and not ask for a lot of information. And we're going to play this game. But you don't get to do that like 3 days a week. There was one guy, he was an SR guy too, Trent. So get your boy. There was an SR guy that every time I looked around, his name was not Mike either. But I was like, where is Mike? And I would text him. I'd be like, Mike, what are you doing? He was like, do you need me at work? Like, Mike,
what do you need, bro?
It's work. Like we're doing stuff. Like you should be here. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
But you have my number. I need a personal invite. Just let me know. Just let me know if you need me.
I didn't know that you needed me on that training event. Be like, well, it was a whole training event. So we
training.
Yeah, well, we did need you. So let's just fresh start. You just come on in.
I think there's a line between sticking it to the man, which is always fun. If like the first sergeant or somebody has like some shenanigans for the team to do, and if you can get out of it once, like it's fun for everybody.
That's a win.
But then there's sticking it to your team when you cross the line and the team is getting hosed because of you on a regular basis. Like that's when it's a problem.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that is a big problem.
Yes, indeed.
To which some cones learn. Sometimes you do. But the last thing that I have really is, and it's probably the largest one, and I know Simon Sinek has talked about it, when he's done a lot of studies and engagements with the soft community and stuff like that. But it's the kind of, and the Air Force has integrity. You can say lying, you can say somebody who's trustworthy, honest, like all those kind of things that in that same vein. But if you catch somebody lying, or you are not fully honest or transparent, or you are, sure, you could say shamming is kind of in that, but it's not. Lying or straight up not being trustworthy is not the same as shamming.
Right.
If I can't trust you, then what do we have? What are we doing here?
Right.
Why are you here?
The healthy part of shamming is that usually when the shammers get caught, they'll be like, all right, yeah, you got me. My bad, dude. I just didn't want to go to this thing. It's stupid. It's a meeting I didn't want to go to. You're like, all right, got it. Like, usually that's it. That's not the same as, straight up lying, to your friends is typically frowned upon. That makes you a shitty dude pretty much right away. What's the old adage? If I can't trust you with my life, my wife, or my car, you're not a good teammate. That's kind of falls into the same one.
My life, my wife, my car.
Yeah.
Valid.
Exactly. Those are my best friends, man. I don't have to, I can leave you alone with my life, my wife, and my car, and you're a pretty good dude if all three are still intact. So I appreciate that.
If you borrow my car, you're going to bring me back a full tank of gas.
That's just being a good dude.
That's just what you do.
That's just being a good dude. Like that's man law right there. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's full. You got to top that bad boy off. Give it just a little something.
Yeah. I think the only time, like when I was at the 2-3, I blew up on a dude pretty bad one time. And I was just like, because there's like a series of events that led to like, and I called him one day, he was late, he lied about it. Why? We went down the rabbit hole. Like it was like, I got pulled over. So it's like, you call the sheriff's department and be like, did you pull any of my guys over? They're like, nope. Call local PD. We call local PD like, hey, did you pull any of my guys over there today? They're like, we actually know who you're talking about. No. We did not.
That's funny. Yeah, we know. Oh, we know him, and we'd be able to tell you if we did, but we didn't.
Ooh.
Yeah, because there's some stuff leading up to this, but like I just couldn't understand. Like, dude, if you have problems, like let me know. Like, we're pretty understanding folks most of the time, but like you feel like you need to lie to me about this, like I lost it. You know, like Blues not allowed inside the team room building, yada yada, all that other fun stuff. Like, not even like it made me so mad. It didn't even like. It's not like you're not running sandbags up to the top of the tower. Like, you're putting your Blues on. You're not allowed in the building where the team rooms are. Like, that's how mad I got about that, because, you know, and it wasn't like a what are you lying to me for? Like, I just don't understand it. You know, like, you're not lying about something super important or whatever. Like, there was no reason for it. Just explain it to me. Come in. We're all people. Let's fix this. Because like he's a valuable teammate, but you're not valuable if like that's the kind of shit that you're pulling.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I got pretty upset.
No, I mean, you will catch dudes, because going back to the accountability thing, they mess something up and then they'll lie about how something didn't work or something was broke, or, oh yeah, like, you know, hey, aircraft couldn't get a hold of you. Like, they were trying, and then they ended up doing a no drop, or they couldn't land because friggin' they couldn't get a hold of you. You know, what was going on? Oh yeah, the radio was broken. You know, I was doing everything I possibly could to get the radio going. Then come to find out, like, you didn't even take the radio, you forgot it because you were so worried about something else. I'm that is a completely made up scenario, but
that is a true story, and his name is Michael Jenkins.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I just made that up.
It's all Mike today.
Yeah. Everybody's Mike. Everybody that I don't want to name on the podcast is Mike.
Yeah, but I mean,
no more chats.
We did have somebody who took a laser rangefinder, you know, as part of a JTAC mission, and then he something like he wouldn't use it, like, for whatever reason. He's like, I'm trying to make it more challenging and stuff like that. Come to find out, it was broke, and he knew it was broken, and he deployed it. Yeah, it was. And you're like, dude, if you knew that this was broke, what are you doing? You know,
why didn't you just get it replaced?
Yeah,
just go ask for another one.
Like, dude,
go down, be shitty to the SWMS folks, and be like, give me a new one, nerd.
Yeah, radio nerds.
Because that guy probably was a shitty operator.
Well, you got to make sure that trust goes both ways, though, too, right? Like, as a supervisor, NCO, team lead, whatever, like, you need to make sure that your folks know, like, hey, like, this is not a big deal. Just let me know. Like, if you're like the guy that, like, I'm in charge here and always screaming at people, like, people don't want to like come in and talk to you. Like, if you're like, I have an open door policy, except you shut your door, and you're like, you know, I'm better than everybody. That doesn't breed the type of communication that will lead to open and honest discussions that are necessary to build that trust and to accomplish any mission set. So I don't want to put it all on the senior airmen, even though they're terrible people and I hate them.
The E4 Mafia is going to rise up against you, Trent.
Dude, you are screwed.
You are in trouble.
I'm getting doxxed.
Good thing you're retiring
tomorrow.
soon.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Well, next time we record, I think you're going to be done, huh?
Yeah. Exciting.
Yeah, we're going to have the get together and talk about me for a day. It's about damn time. Let's talk about me.
Finally, let's talk about
my favorite
Trent.
subject. Yeah.
Now we're talking. I can't wait.
It's going to be good. All right. Well, closing it up, guys. Appreciate everybody out there for tuning in. Sorry about all the cussing. Yeah, it was
there was a lot, but
yeah, it was a lot more in this episode. So anyway, go to onesready.com, check out the merch store. We've got Attack Lead on there, all their kit. We've got our merch in terms of shirts, flags, all that kind of stuff. We got some new stuff coming. We're going to be putting the hoodies back on there. We're looking for some more hoodies, different designs, some hats on there too. So
Texas is like, we don't care. I don't care
Texas
about it.
We don't wear hoodies in Texas.
It's still 95 degrees
what
in
I
Texas.
like about Texas. Yeah.
Sorry. That's not even a song.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just you singing a bunch of words.
It's just people from Texas, man. They love being from Texas.
That's true.
But anyway, onesready.com, check them out. Check out all of our partners and affiliates and all that kind of good stuff. You know, drinkhoist.com, 18alphafitness.com, Tacklete. You can get their stuff from our website. Who else we got? We got cardomax.com, evillystock.com.
Yep.
I think that's it. And if I'm leaving you off, trenchcoffeeco.com. So if I'm leaving you off, sorry. I'm kind of doing this off the fly. So anyway, everybody out there, appreciate you tuning in. Leave us a review. Light up.